Good morning, Collective Kids, and welcome to Sundays with Ziggy. I'm Margaret.
I'm Abby.
This is Sloan.
This is Ziggy.
Wow, I'm having another one of those weeks, Abby. I don't know where my head is at. Like, they're not in the clouds, but they're not down here on Earth. They're just like...
somewhere.
They're just lost. I don't know. I'm tired, but I'm not tired. I'm sweaty because it's hot out, but I'm not. Like, I feel like I curl up with a blanket and a book and a hot coffee, but like not. Yeah. I don't know. That's where I'm at. I love you. Anyways, we are continuing our confidence series. Last week was a super good story about Gideon and heroes and all that fun stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm having a lot of fun learning about confidence.
Oh, me too.
I think it's super great. I think we should talk about it more because I think confidence is a very important part of just everything.
It can be really hard to have sometimes.
It can be. And like, for me personally, I'm super confident when I'm with like you guys and with you. I can be silly, I can joke around, whatever. But in like everyday life, I find myself, I don't know, like shy. Because I don't want people to view me as some crazy person, right? Like, I just don't want them to just think that I'm crazy and can't be serious.
Yeah, I think sometimes we think about what others think of us too much.
And it bugs me. When I do it, in the moment, it doesn't bug me, but then afterwards when I'm home, I'm like, dang. Yeah. I could have really put myself out there or been myself. And so it's something that I'm constantly trying to work on. And it's not easy. I don't think it's easy.
No, it's not.
So don't feel bad. It's not easy. But, now, biblical times, let's talk. Way back when, no cars, no cell phones. Oh my gosh, how did you live? Oh, don't know. I remember a time without cell phones. Side note.
Yeah, I do.
But Israel was ruled by many kings, and they didn't always listen to God. Shocker. What in the world? Cray. But King Ahab was the worst of these kings. But God sent Elijah he sent Elijah the prophet. So Elijah was a prophet. And so he sent Elijah to King Ahab to deliver a message. So that's what our story is about. So let's watch it and see what Elijah had to say to King Ahab and see if he maybe changed his mind about things. So let's check out.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of 1 Kings. Chapter 18.
Israel was ruled by many kings who didn't listen to God, but King Ahab was the very worst. He even built a temple to a false god.
Everybody worship Baal. He is very great because, I don't know, he can make it rain and stuff. Woot!
But the Lord sent a prophet named Elijah to deliver a message to King Ahab.
As the Lord lives, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years, except at my word.
You pipsqueak. Baal can make it rain. Also, off with your head.
Elijah quickly departed the palace, and at the Lord's direction, he escaped and hid east of the Jordan River. For 3 years, there was no rain in Israel.
Impossible. I won't allow it. Baal, make it rain this instant.
Crops failed, rivers and brooks dried up. King Ahab was desperate. In fact, his wife Jezebel even hunted down most of the prophets of God that were left in Israel.
Off with their heads!
But through it all, God provided food and water for Elijah. In the 3rd year of the drought, God spoke to Elijah again.
Go, speak to Ahab. Then I will send rain on the land.
You do realize he wants to kill me. Okay, here goes.
As Elijah traveled to the palace, he met King Ahab on the road.
Is that you troubler of Israel?
I haven't made trouble for Israel. You have.
Yeah, well, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you.
You've abandoned the Lord and followed Baal.
What else? He's more popular.
You want a showdown? Fine. Gather all the people and meet me on Mount Carmel. Oh, and bring all the prophets of Baal.
Oh, you're on.
King Ahab sent a message throughout the land, and the Israelites gathered on Mount Carmel, along with 450 of the prophets of Baal.
How long will you go back and forth between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal's God, follow him. I'm the only prophet of the Lord left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Hey, get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets prepare one of the bulls and place it on an altar to Baal, but not light it. I'll put the other bull on an altar to the Lord. The God who answers by fire, well, he is God.
What you say is good.
The prophets of Baal prepared a bull as a sacrifice and placed it on the altar to Baal.
Baal, this is for you. Light this bull on fire. Hey, Baal, answer us.
From morning until noon, the prophets of Baal danced around the altar, calling on their false god.
Hey, shout louder. Maybe he's asleep or on a trip.
The prophets of Baal danced harder and shouted louder all through the afternoon, but there was still no answer. At last, Elijah stood up.
Enough! Come here to me.
Elijah took 12 large stones and rebuilt an altar to the Lord. Then he took the bull and sticks of wood and placed them on the stones and dug a deep trench around the entire altar. He turned to several of the Israelites and said,
Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and the wood.
You do know wet wood doesn't burn, right?
Just do it. Now do it again. Do it a 3rd time.
The wood became so wet, water even flowed down the altar and filled the trench.
Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, let everyone know that you are the one true God. Answer me, Lord, so these people will know that you are God and that you are turning their hearts back again.
There was a long moment of silence. Everyone waited, breathless. And then, fire fell from heaven onto the altar and instantly burned up the wet wood and the sacrifice, even licking up the water in the trench. The people fell on their faces.
The Lord is God!
Terrified, the prophets of Baal tried to escape, but were captured and wiped out. Elijah turned to King Ahab.
Go, eat and drink, for there is the sound of a heavy rain.
Though the sky was completely clear, in a short time a tiny cloud appeared. More clouds joined the first. They turned dark and black. The wind rose, and fat drops of rain splattered onto the dry earth for the first time in 3 years. Filled with God's strength and joy, Elijah raced ahead of King Ahab's chariot to the city. God had done the impossible.
Such a good story.
Yeah.
I always love hearing about the stories where somebody goes and changes somebody else's mind for the good, right? Like Elijah with King Ahab. He wasn't making the greatest decisions. He wasn't following God. And Elijah was like, hey man, you should do this. And King Ahab was like, okay, Holmes, let's do it. And then he was like, okay, sweet.
They talk like that.
They clearly, that's how they spoke in biblical times. Google it. Just kidding, don't Google it, because that's probably not what they said. But that's the gist of it. Anyways, have you ever tried to set fire to water?
No.
Doesn't work. At least when I've, doesn't work. When you go camping, is your firewood dry, or do you soak it in water first? Right? It's usually dry. And there's no way that we can set fire to water or soaked wood that's been soaked in water or anything like that. Wet grass, anything like that. It's not possible. We don't have the power to do that. But God made it possible when Elijah went to King Ahab. That's how Elijah showed King Ahab, that there's only one true God. And God was able to do that. God set fire to the wet wood. That's just what he did. Elijah didn't do it. Elijah did it with God's help. And we can have that confidence, right? We can have the confidence that bam, God's going to do that. That's what he's going to do, because he told me that's what he's going to do. I hope you guys have gained some confidence, especially while we're talking about confidence in our series and about the different types of people who have been those hero types like Gideon and Elijah and those people. And you can do whatever you set your mind to. Yeah. Right? Anything you want. Exactly. As long as you have God. And he's always with you. And so you can do everything that you set your mind to. And so I encourage you guys, try some new things. Maybe you'll find something you're really good at. Maybe you'll start painting and you'll find that you really enjoy it. Maybe try talking to one of your friends about God. Maybe there's somebody that you're I really want to, but I'm nervous. What if he's not my friend after? Try it. Let's see what happens. God will give you the confidence and he'll give you what you need to do it. But that's what I've got this week.
It's so great. Such a good story.
It is.
We love you guys. We miss you a lot, and we hope to see you again sometime soon. But until then, we will
catch you on the flip side.